Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sunday afternoon drawing group with me, Jason Leeser. I'll be your host for these Sunday afternoon get-togethers. Thank you for tuning in, and welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live events and these real-world events as well to share, inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day with your help and have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that have been receiving rave reviews. You are currently watching the Sunday afternoon drawing group with me at 1 p.m. Artists, feel free to zoom in by clicking on the link in the events area of the Reinventing the Tattoo community. All are welcome. It doesn't matter your skill level or where you're at. If you wanted to beam in and join the conversation, you are always more than welcome to. You might be beaming in from YouTube or watching on Facebook, or maybe you're listening to the podcast. But any way you want it, the event schedule and the notifications at the official Reinventing the Tattoo community are the best place to go for all of the live events. You can find the Reinventing the Tattoo community at both of the app stores, the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. The app is free. You don't have to pay for it. Download it, join the community. We encourage everyone to join in. Or you can go directly to community.reinventingthetattoo.com. All Reinventing the Tattoo Network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars, seriously, all can be enjoyed on demand and found in the library, as well as the YouTube and podcast channels. There are countless tattoo and art rabbit holes for you to dive down into. And it's absolutely incredible the amount of content that's there. It's perfect for the front room of your studio, or maybe you've got a client that you're tattooing and maybe you want to put it on to entertain them. In fact, we're beaming out 4 channels 24/7, which you can always find at reinventing247.com. We even have a Spanish channel, which is awesome. And we have some goodie bags that you can enter to win at, once again, reinventing247.com. We have some weekly staple shows that you may want to tune in for, including today's 1 p.m. drawings group with me. And we have the 9 p.m. Sunday night tattoo weekly show, which is awesome, by the way, if you guys don't know about that. Where basically we go through and try to recap some of the latest tattoo news throughout the week. Mondays at 9 a.m., we have Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network. He's going to be beaming in and hosting a drawing group as well, as he has the past few Mondays. Monday at 9 p.m., we have a subscribers only drawing group with Guy Aitchison himself, where we go through and we work on specific criteria that maybe we could get better at, right? So, I mean, we worked on elements the one week, and how to draw like realistic flames. We worked on composition, lighting, texture contrast, things of that nature. It's always, always amazing whatever we go over. Tuesdays at 10 a.m., there's a live drawing group with Ricardo Sertivant, a very good friend of mine and an incredibly talented tattooer. Where he covers some of the more interesting aspects behind art and drawing. It's absolutely phenomenal. Highly recommend you tune in for that one. Wednesdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe. Thursdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting podcast with various tattoo collectors from around the world joining in, telling some of their stories. Thursdays at 7 p.m., we have a subscribers only exercise with Kirsten Franklin, where she covers some of the basic fundamentals of drawing, right? Because if we don't revisit those fundamentals every now and then, we start to lose it. So she was kind enough to start hosting that as well. We've got several real world events coming up, October 3rd through 6th. We have the Paradise Tattoo BYOB event, which is like a soft launch back into the Paradise Tattoo Gathering. where you can join in person should you decide that you want to do that, or virtually. We will be beaming out several live webcasts and several live web shows from the Paradise BYOB over every single day of the event for all levels. And we're even inviting apprentices to join or beam in. Everyone is always welcome there, and it's going to be an absolutely great show. The Brussels Tattoo Convention, November 12th through 14th. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I'm going to be there along with Nick Baxter, Ivana. Gabe Ripley's going to be doing some tattoo business seminars. There's going to be an art jam, some subscriber exclusive meetups, and some general meetups as well. It's a chance for us to all get together and hang out and enjoy lots of different things. February 5th through 6th, the Reinventing the Tattoo live from the Red Tree Gallery and True Tubes out in Columbus, Ohio. There's going to be art jams, seminars, and more information on the way, so stay tuned for that. May 20th through 22nd in Hell City, Columbus, which is one of the premier tattoo conventions that you could ever want to go to. Highly recommend checking that out. There's probably going to be a ton of seminars. Still waiting on some more information on that one as well. July 8th through 10th of 2022, we have the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo with Reinventing track artists. It's going to be an absolutely incredible venue, and it's easy to get to from anywhere. So definitely want to stay posted for some more information on that. July 29th through 31st of 2022, we have the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanek. That's turning out to be an absolutely incredible lineup. And as well, mark it on your calendars now, ladies and gentlemen, the Paradise Tattoo Gathering will be back in full swing October 20th through 23rd, 2022. That's next year. It will be back in full swing October 20th through the 23rd. Wanted to give a special thank you to our sponsors, without which none of this stuff would be going on. And let's see, we've got some pro development and on-demand upcoming courses, which you can find all at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Our sponsors for this episode are Worldwide Tattoo Events. And let me pull this up. There we go. So Worldwide Tattoo Events, which is absolutely incredible as far as, going through and kind of detailing what live in-person events are going to be going on around the world at any given time. There's a live up-to-date listing of all tattoo conventions, events, seminars, get-togethers, all that kind of stuff. You can find that all on worldtattooevents.com. We have inkjet stencils. If you're trying to really step up your stencil game, take a look at inkjet stencils. It will completely change the way that you look at a tattoo stencil, right? Highly recommended. I've used them in the past, and they are absolutely incredible. Rawpigments.co. It's like the next evolution in tattoo pigment, right? I started to incorporate a lot of their pigments into my lineup, and I've never been happier. It's a nice getaway from, the everyday, major name brands. The thing that I really like about it that helps separate it out is the fact that it's completely acrylic free. It's vegan friendly. So, no animal testing or products or anything like that. And the vibrance of that pigment is just, mwah, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. D-Lyze Pro, also known as Dermalyze Pro in the rest of the world. It is designed to heal your tattoo. Okay. If you're still using saran wrap, you may want to take a look at this. I've used it several times. In fact, I still use it to this day, and it's absolutely incredible. It's going to allow your tattoo to breathe while still allowing it to heal. Okay. And that is, that's exactly what we always look for as tattooers. Who's next? Tattoo Now, technology for tattooers. leading the edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels, who I just got word of earlier in this week. They're now accepting new clients. So if you're looking to really take your website and your web marketing, and you're really trying to gain a bigger presence in the interweb community as a whole, definitely check out Tattoo Now. It's only going to be beneficial to you, guaranteed. And of course, Tattoo Education and GuyAitchison.com, the founder and inspiration of Reinventing the Tattoo, who also created single-handedly the Biomech Encyclopedia. He's got that for sale, as well as several DVDs, machines, paintings, countless other things, as well as seminars and all types of videos. All of those are for sale at Tattoo Education and GuyAitchison.com. Very special thank you to Guy for, just dreaming up this community and this platform. Once again, without which we wouldn't be here. Would also like to thank our affiliates, the Fireside Tattoo Network. Thank you very much for everything that you've done and everything that you've put forth. If you don't know about the Fireside Tattoo Network, go take a look at their YouTube channel. They've been around a really long time. Jake Meek's the guy that runs it, super talented artist, and is really trying to bridge the gap between fine art and tattoos, which is absolutely incredible. If you doubt me at all, go take a look, watch some of the videos. They are enlightening, to say the least. The Apprenticeship Diaries, if you are an apprentice or if you are trying to become a tattoo apprentice, this is like a requirement in my book. Personal opinion, of course, but it has got more valuable information for people that are just trying to get their foot in the door of the tattoo community than you could ever imagine. It will bring insight and inspiration to you and will kind of help guide you along the right path to really get that foot in the door and really start to get going in this industry. Highly recommend it. And eco-friendly tattoo supplies, because who doesn't want to save the environment, right? We want to try to keep it as nice as we can for future generations. So why not go eco-friendly? Please post positive reviews on the channel. Help us get the word out. If you're watching in YouTube or any of the podcasting that we do, like and subscribe. It's always nice to, go through and be able to see that, the stuff we're doing is always received really well. We always recommend subscribing. That way, if there's a live event coming up that you maybe want to tune into, this way you get some notifications for it. So highly recommend that. Also, thank you to a growing crew of contributing artists. We all try to get together and contribute, and, without the rest of the crew, who knows, I probably wouldn't be on here right now. So I would like to give a special thank you to them. So that kind of does it for the introductions. Let me switch this back over to there. We got Bruno's in. Oh, and who's that you have with you, Bruno?
Hey. Oh.
Echo.
Here we go. How's it going, guys? We got Ricardo in the house.
Oh, Ricardo!
What's up, Ricardo?
What's going on, homie?
Man, chilling with my man Bruno down in Florida, dude. It's awesome. Literally just got in off the flight about, like an hour ago, maybe?
Yep.
We've been hanging out, talking about some cool stuff. It's pretty bitchin'.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
And it's little get-togethers like this that can really make the difference between, just seeing people as tiny little squares on a computer screen or on a phone, and then actually seeing them physically in person, right? Brings a whole new dimension to it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was a moment when I saw Ricardo live in person, for the first time. Yeah, man, pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, and you guys are going to be joined by Kirsten, if I'm correct?
Yeah, she's gonna be arriving tonight at like 10:45, I think. So she'll be with us tonight. Yeah, man.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Jason, I think right now it's flipping back in speaker mode, so it's doing some of that quick camera craziness. I don't know if you want to put it on gallery mode and then highlight the cameras. That'd be awesome.
All right, so let me see.
Yeah, I think gallery. Wow, you got a 3-camera setup there.
Yeah, we're trying to give you all the angles.
Maybe
Oh,
with
wow.
Yeah. Would it be better if we take one of the cameras off?
No, I like it.
Oh, okay, cool. What is it that
Although we were getting a very wonderful view of your armpit, Ricardo.
Okay, well, we don't need that.
I mean, I know you're trying to put the spotlight on. Is that who did that tattoo on your arm, Ricardo? Because that's beautiful.
Guy Aitchison himself, man.
Yeah, we did it on purpose, man. We wanted you to notice it, and then we could talk about it.
Oh, you can notice it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh man, that settled in absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's still a little dry, but I think that's due to traveling and not having too much access to lotion at the moment and stuff like that. But it's healing up really well.
It puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again, Ricardo.
I know. Tell me about it, especially with a piece like this, man. I love it. I love it.
You know, I always love to see people that usually work in one way, whether it be color or subject matter, you know, or maybe they're a black and gray artist. And I love to see the dynamic that they can get when they kind of step outside of that, you know, and actually have a chance to work with something that maybe they don't get to do too often.
Right.
Right. You know, like Guy is known for his color, right? And his unbelievable depth in color. And to see something in black and gray from him, you know, you don't really get to see that too often. So I think that's absolutely incredible.
Yes. Dude, it was awesome. It's awesome to be able to get a black and gray piece from him, and then for him to be so stoked to do it too. You're right. He nailed it. And like, I guess when we were talking about it, he says he doesn't get the opportunity to do it very much. So I jumped all over it.
Oh, I can't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's gorgeous in person, man.
Oh, I can imagine. I can't wait until I get to see it in person. Then, you know, Ricardo and I and Bruno, when you come up to visit us in Philadelphia for the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention, we can all sit down and compare our Guy Aitchison tattoos.
True. We all got one, man. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a real honor, man. And it's
I know, right? It's like, you know, that first time you get tattooed by like a level 10 tat wizard, and it's like you just can't stop staring at it.
Yeah, man, it's quite the experience to see him, you know, going at it, you know, like doing his thing, and he's so fast, man.
Efficient.
And
yeah, he is quick. That is one thing I noticed. But my question to you is this. Okay, and it's for both of you guys, knowing that you guys are both veterans in the tattoo community. You guys both do incredible artwork. But my major question is this, and it's something I was talking to Rich about the other week. Do you feel like it's speed, or is it more efficiency?
Yeah, like Ricardo was saying, you know, right after I said he's fast, you know, Ricardo said efficient, and that's definitely what it is. You know, like it's he you could tell that he knows exactly, you know, what he's gonna do, and that pretty much, you know, gives him that speed, you know.
Yeah, it seems fast because it's like an efficient process. So like whenever he is tattooing, it's very effective and it's intentional. And the cool part is like watching him tap into that flow state, or that like those moments, those collective moments where he's just like kind of following the path of the design. You know what I mean? Like the whole process is great. And then especially being so used to being tattooed in the traditional kind of sense where there's a lot of line work and stuff like that first, watching it being approached like a painting before anything else, or like a charcoal drawing, was awesome to see it come together like that. Just the buildup of layers and everything like that too, and the time and effort that's being put into it, and the thought that goes into it too. It's great, but definitely efficient. I'd say efficient for sure. So that makes it seem faster, you know.
You saw like the process that we do on the Monday night exercise in action.
Yeah. You're right. That's exactly it. Yeah, I didn't think about it like that, man. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you get to witness like his vision, right? Like how he approaches it from the start, right?
Mhm.
Like the things that he takes into consideration, like the light, the values, and all that, and the rough sketch that you get to see, right?
Yeah. The placement was an important one too. Like he was, you know, when we were talking about the placement on this tattoo in particular, we he did a one size and we did another stencil for this size that it is now. And the knowledge that he had about placing the image and it fitting the body right, it was some things that I never really thought about. Because he was talking about some other projects that he'd worked on in the past and stuff like that. And like just that process of getting to where he's at with it. You know what I mean? So it's really cool. Really cool. I mean, you got yours drawn on you too, though, Jason, didn't you? I remember. Like, you guys...
I did, and that was going to be my next major question. Is so when I was tattooed by a guy, it was all freehand. There wasn't a single bit of stencil done. It was okay. Let's sit down and do some problem solving at one time, right? And we're going to go through and we're going to get this all figured out. Which really led to in my mind, from the way that I saw things, I saw it as a very organically creative process, right? Where he was presented with a certain set of challenges that he had to overcome while, you know, on the spot, on the fly, and he had to figure that out, you know, right there and right then. And that led to a very organic process with the way that everything developed, where maybe he wasn't quite sure how he was going to approach a certain section, but he knew the shapes that he wanted to put in there, right? He didn't quite know the detail or how refined it was going to get, but he wanted to let that evolve as he was tattooing, right? Which obviously comes with a certain amount of experience and a certain amount of time, you know, but it was completely organic as far as like the experience. By organic, I mean, it just kind of flowed,
right.
You know, when you approach things in that kind of a method, you're not only working with the anatomy, but you're working with the underlying flow and structure of those shapes, right? Because you don't really know what you're getting into, especially with cover-ups, right? It might, unless you have someone come in person and you're able to take a tracing of that area and you're able to sit down and figure out, okay, I'm going to need to bring this like this, and I can work with these shapes like this. But if you're tattooing someone that's traveling, right, say from another country or another state, and they want a massive cover-up done, you know, sometimes you have to go through and you have to work with certain elements that maybe, you know, you didn't really know were there.
Yeah.
So it creates this kind of on the fly kind of attitude where it's like, okay, we're just going to create a shape there and then build it.
Right.
Now, when you were tattooed by him, it was stenciled. So do you feel like that added or subtracted from maybe that organic process?
No, I don't think so, man. I think he's veteran enough to where he pictures the shape of the arm, he pictures the shape of the body, and he's taking all that composition into consideration. You know what I mean? And I think the really cool part that I noticed now, like, because I've been staring at this thing nonstop, of course, you know, I think the funniest part was when I looked at him, I was like, hey, I have a good tattoo now. But it was cool because, like, you know, seeing the way he added his values to the study that he showed me, it complements the composition as well. You know, so I think the placement of the stencil just accentuated everything that he already had going on. Does that make sense? I think that's something that's taken into consideration. So I think that organic part of it that you're talking about was still there.
Right.
And I think that it's just that overall approach, the overall idea of it to begin with is a very organic, in a very organic sense.
It's almost like there's gonna be a little bit less maybe of in a way more room, like when you've done like stencil and the design previously. More room for, improvising in a way that maybe tends to be more creative in the moment, because a lot of the other stuff that is a little more technical or more like fitting the body was already pretty much figured out. And so it could have its advantage, right? Because there's always still going to be room for things to kind of take a different direction, like it's always a good idea to allow that to happen. And I'm sure that guy does that a lot, but I'm sure that doing a previous sketch will always give you a slight edge. Not that it has to be that way, obviously, always, but it gives you a slight edge so that you can think less about certain things that maybe will take time that you could be spending on maybe more creative parts. But I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of my a view on it, right?
That's a pretty good point, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
See, and that's why I love doing these like live webinars, because you get different perspectives on things, right? That's something I would have never thought of.
Yeah.
You know, but then again, Bruno's a super smart person, so
Who's talking?
he probably has a lot of thoughts that like are completely foreign to me. But that's part of what this community is about, right? It's about all of us getting together and sharing knowledge so that we all advance as a community, as opposed to like one guy getting super good and then not sharing his secrets and no one else can improve because, he's reached this level. It's like, listen, it's not really going to matter if we share the information that we've gained over the years, right? Because we all do different things in different ways, but it's having that knowledge to begin with that allows us to at least improve what we're doing so that we can take things in a different direction.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys doing like a timed thing where every few minutes you're switching?
No, nothing timed. That's actually a good idea. But
Oh, shoot. Yeah, man down.
Man down, man down.
yeah. But just kind of letting it flow. Just to improvise and see how we go about it. But definitely trying to make sure that we don't stay on it for too long, so that we can create that product, that final product that can only be done when the two of us get together, kind of thing. So it doesn't go too far in our own direction, type thing. Like the way that we would usually do things. That's my favorite part about our fusion, like, because you really are like so close to the way that the person that you're collaborating with goes about the process and about pretty much everything, and so there's a lot to you can learn, from an experience like this. I'm really looking forward to collaborating with you, Jason, and Kier and other people over there at the Paradise Gathering. That's gonna be awesome, man.
Oh boy, Bruno, have I got some surprises in store for you?
Oh shit! Wow. Oh yeah.
So for those of you that might not be aware, I'm going to be up at the Paradise BYOB, and we're going to be working in the Reinventing the Tattoo collaboration room, where different artists from all over the place are going to be able to get together. And we're all going to be able to collaborate on different works of art in different mediums. I'm actually supplying quite a few brushes, quite a few mediums to work with, different surfaces to work on. So it's, I'm putting out a little bit of money so that we can all have some fun and we can all create some awesome art. I've got quite a large roll of really nice heavyweight drawing paper that I'm going to be bringing up with me for people like Ricardo who prefer to work in charcoal and graphite. So, I mean, and I think that roll is just shy of 5 foot.
Nice, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think I still have probably a good 10 yards left on it.
Nice.
So it's quite a substantial amount. It also freely accepts aqueous media. So anyone that wants to work with like markers or, watercolors or paints or even liquid acrylic, you can paint on it as well, right? And it's absorbent. I'm also planning on bringing up, and this is something that I still have to pick up, a rather large roll of pre-gessoed canvas, some very nice heavyweight pre-gessoed canvas. Once again, I'm looking at about a 5-foot roll tall. And then I think they come in 10 yards. So, for people that would prefer to work with more like acrylics or oils or whatever, I might actually even pick up some medium density fiberboard, some MDF, and get that gessoed and prepped for anyone that might prefer to work on board over, say, canvas. But paints will be, I'll have a couple of different tubes of paint, some brushes that I'm going to be picking up. But that is something that I've noticed each of you doing is each of you prefer to work with brushes when you work with a dry medium. Is there a reason behind that?
I like to approach it in the sense of a painting. I like to keep things real loose, like especially with Bruno right now, man. This is awesome. Like I'm experiencing a whole new realm with this possibility with this with brushes and charcoal. It's very organic. It's real nice, like with an oil paints, and you have to like wet the surface of any canvas that you're working on, so the oil kind of like spreads around a little bit easier, the first layer at least. Because want it kind of opaque. That's kind of how I started this process with, and I think a lot of other people have done it. Charcoals, I think. Yeah, right here.
Oh, looks like we had Rod join us. Hey, Rod.
What's up, Jason?
How's it going, man?
Oh, it's pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What you working on today?
I'm working on my homework assignment for the drawing group again with the moth and the flame in the forest.
Very nice. Very nice.
Could you turn your camera sideways?
I did, but it turned me upside down.
No, you're
There you
perfect.
go.
Now it's okay. Yeah, now it works. Okay. Got it. Was that Gabe?
That was.
I thought I
Yeah,
heard him,
himself.
Hey,
but
how are you?
I didn't see it. I'm okay. How are you?
Fantastic. It's always fun to see you pop in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good to hear you guys. Good
Yeah,
to see
likewise.
you guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard you're going to the tattoo gathering. That's sweet, man.
Yeah, it's something I'm really excited for. I one thing that I've always been in love with is just getting together with other artists and sitting down and saying, "Hey, let's create something." It doesn't
Yeah,
matter
that's
what we
right.
create in. Let's just go to town and let's just see what comes out, right?
Yeah,
With
that's fun.
no real idea or direction. Let's pick a subject matter and just go.
Yeah,
Right.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. It's a cool way to learn. Pick
Oh,
up things
absolutely.
from each other. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Jiminy Peak can't be that far from you, Rod.
It's not. I just was
It's,
thinking about it.
Timing's real short. I apologize, but everything's fucking crazy because of COVID.
Yeah, I might be able to work it out. I just have to figure out if my car is like a long distance car right now. I think my car might be a town car just to stay in town. But I can figure something out. I'll try.
Might be able to carpool with some people too. I think there's some other Pennsylvania contingents
Oh.
coming.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, where are you at in PA?
Oh, I'm in Lancaster. It's not that far from Philly. Are you like pretty much you're in Philadelphia then?
Well, just outside, just north of Philadelphia, right in the suburbs.
Sure.
If you were to hop on the turnpike, there's a turnpike exit that'll drop you off 5 minutes from my house.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah. So if you wanted to meet here and then head up together, that'd be fine with me.
Okay, I'll look at the details and things, and I'll get back to you about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But thank you very much for the offer. That's awesome.
Hey, anytime.
Cool, man.
And Jason, were you looking at that projector?
I was looking at an ultra short throw projector that I saw the other day on Amazon.
Yeah, if you find one and want to send it our way, we could figure out how to get it and set it up, because it would be awesome to have like a nice projected collaborative kind of iPad action. And
cool. Yeah, we could definitely figure something out. Let me look around. I think I saw one the other day that was a little bit less expensive.
cool.
that was like right around the same quality range.
Sweet.
So let me see
Yeah.
if I can find that one again.
This year, it's also, yeah, definitely better to err on the side of getting things going again, as opposed to like next year when we have a larger event and budget to go all out.
Right, right.
But we will go all out.
Oh, I don't doubt that, Gabe. You've been talking about some of the ideas that you had, and they're pretty sweet.
Okay, well, it's not. We can't amp it up too much though, because then it's impossible.
Well, that's what I didn't mention anything specific for that reason.
Yeah. The fun part is everyone getting together is what makes the magic happen. So no matter what, everyone can make it a fantastic time.
Yeah,
I was on the
that's
ride.
pretty cool.
Just to plug it one more time, I was going down the Alpine slides a couple days ago, and they yelled at me to take my. I was taking the camera, and I didn't communicate properly. But I'll have to go back. But those Alpine slides and the Alpine roller coaster are very fun.
That looks fun.
I look like
Whoever did
Think
it.
about just strapping a GoPro to myself, and whenever I get up there, and just literally walking around all day with like an over-the-shoulder GoPro going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Take it all in.
Right?
That's
First
cool.
person view.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are you guys working on there? Collaborative drawing. That looks cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Kind of
That
following
looks
through.
nice. Mm-hmm.
letting it flow, man. Like we got like a head at what's that called again? Styrofoam head.
Oh, okay.
The basic reference just for like lighting and the angles.
Oh, nice.
And so the idea was to just have that as a reference, and then whatever else happens, just let it flow, pull it a little bit from here and from there. It kind of evolved to this. So, yeah, man. What's cool about charcoals, one of my favorite things about charcoals is that as you're, developing whatever it is that you're working on, unexpected things happen because of, how it could spread or go in a slightly different direction that you wanted, but it's enough that your like subconscious or imagination kind of sees something, and then all of a sudden you're headed in a different direction that is a little bit more creative,
That's
And
cool.
about,
Yeah, that's awesome.
working with something super loose.
Yeah, that's cool when you like accidentally do a cool thing and then that becomes one of your new things, sort of. Yeah, that's neat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks good, man. Guys, yeah, looks really cool.
It's happening pretty quick too. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Focusing on light and shadow kind of thing, right? Pretty much.
Got it.
Yeah, the light on the face looks really nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Kristen.
Got that lighting going on real quick.
All
I
of
grabbed
the
my headphones.
shape, man. Focusing on the simple shapes.
Yep, simple shapes are the key.
Yeah, I feel like in general, I'll run into trouble both in tattoo and painting, especially when I'm starting a painting. If I start to focus on the details too quickly, too soon, I've started to make an adjustment thanks to like the Monday night classes and guys' advice and everything. To try to block in the big shapes first, before even thinking about the small details, and that seems to be the like a real big difference as far as like what gets me to where I want to go quicker and more effectively, versus when I just start with the details and do whatever I want, but when I start to block everything in and think about the shapes and the light and the shadow, like Ricardo teaches on his class, things go well, and I get to where I want to go quicker than I used to.
Yeah, it's a good way to like make your forms stand out a little bit faster. It's a good way to take those shapes and just turn them into that dimensional form. And then the cool part about it is that it does allow you at the same time to play around with your light sources and stuff like that too. And like Bruno said, catch some little nuances that you might not even thought of because the way that the charcoal just kind of falls onto the paper. That's why I like using the brushes too, Jason. To answer your question from earlier, is those little organic things that just kind of happen that you become a part of, and you just let go. Just let go, just let it happen. Not to be so strict on yourself about it not looking a certain way. This is fun.
Yeah, it's a very fine art approach. It's something that they teach in a lot of art schools is just look for your shapes, block it in, right? Doesn't matter if they're right or accurate or anything like that. You just want to get a vague idea and a vague sense of where certain things are. You can always refine it later. You know, you can always go into it and change the shape and adjust it slightly, or, you know, make it darker or make it lighter, but just get it down first and then start playing with the details and the definitions and, you know, the finer points of it, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I won't ever forget that from my first year in art school. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? They're like, you need to get out of the idea of drawing what you think you know and just draw what you see.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether what you're looking at is in your head or in front of you, you just have to draw what you see. Right? And it's a very fine art approach to sketching and drawing and everything like that. A very painterly approach, if you will.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like the first part of the process, right? Like once you get that to work, then you could like, you know, let loose and break the rules and you know, go outside of your reference and but at least now you already have it working because of how effective you were in blocking the shapes in as you see them. You know, like before you start to do whatever you want, you know, you stuck to that that process that seems to be key, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely one approach you can take. Another way that I've always picked up and learned how to, you know, just hash things out is to go through and I was always taught the wireframe method. I don't know if you guys know that, where you basically draw and get a wireframe down if you're working with something, break it down into basic shapes and dimensions, figure out your angles, and then start blocking in your tones so that way you've got different, you already have like the idea of how you want the direction to go and what perspective you want things to be at. You know, which angles do you want, say, a head or a skull to be, you know, and that all comes from more or less like a wireframe as opposed to just starting off by blocking in shapes. So two different schools of thought and two different approaches, but the
Right.
same base end result.
Yeah. I think the trick is just finding your voice in the picture that you're trying to create.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And because there are so many different ways to do the exact same thing out there,
Yeah.
every artist out there could potentially have a different way that they prefer to go about creating their artworks and making their marks and, you know, showing what they're capable of doing.
So Jason, the cool part is like I recall you and I talking about learning the importance of learning multiple ways of approaching your art. Would you say that still holds true? Like, do you think that it's really important for everybody to kind of dabble in a few different methods?
Oh, without question. Without knowing the benefits and the disadvantages of working in different mediums and working with different approaches, without knowing that, you can't really know what method works the best for you. You know, because maybe you're only taught one way to draw and sketch, and that's all you know. But maybe it's something that you struggle with, or maybe there's a way that you can approach things to be more efficient, right? But all you know is this one really inefficient way to do things. You know, without getting out there and learning and experiencing and dabbling and trying different things, how do you know that the way that you're doing things is the best way for you?
Right.
You know, like I know for a fact that I don't really enjoy painting in glazes when oil painting. I prefer to paint more impasto, more very, let's throw it down in kind of chunky blocks and then move the paint around on the canvas, right? Where other people might go through and might enjoy the process of doing a very thin light glaze and then letting it dry for a month, and then going back in and doing another thin light glaze and letting that draw for a month, and then going back in and doing that over and over and over again until it's 100% just what they were looking for.
Right.
Right. So think about the difference between Monet and say Caravaggio. Okay.
Yeah.
Two unbelievable artists, right? Both worked in oils. Both had very different approaches. Both came out with very different looks. And part of the reasoning behind that is the way that they wanted to apply it and the marks that they wanted to see on the canvas.
Right. Or just the way that they saw it, even the way that
Right.
they understood the way the paint worked and the canvas worked, or the materials that they had at the moment, at that time. Even because a lot of artists were making their own pigments and such at that point in time, weren't they?
Right. And each artist had their own specific formula for what they preferred. Some preferred a thinner paint, some preferred a thicker paint. Some preferred or just didn't know how to make anything,
Right.
in a different way. So that's what they learned how to use.
Exactly.
I think the same can be said for drawing and sketching. To learn how to block in those basic shapes, get your angles together, and work off of deconstruction and reconstruction of varying types of basics. That's only going to be an added benefit. When you sit down and you only know how to draw with wireframe and you've never worked with blocking in tones, it gets to be a bit more difficult, right? Because then you're focused more on form and shape than you are on like tonal variation, right? Because you're just focused on creating like a sphere with a couple of squares on it, or a couple of cylinders and maybe another sphere at the end, right? You're only focused on that. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you're only used to blocking in shapes, to then go through and start working with a wireframe to really focus on, angles and perspectives when you don't know the light source just yet, right? But you want to figure out, as far as positioning goes, what's going to be the best position for the composition. That may be more beneficial. So different techniques to different approaches to different outcomes. But it all comes together when you sit down and you look at a finished piece.
Yeah. It's pretty cool when you put it like that, because that's that person's reflected style too. Like that's what you're saying. Like it kind of came through by their understanding of their own process. It's not like it's almost like they didn't set out to create that exact style. They just kind of translated through that understanding of it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's something that I've come across when talking to various artists from all over the place. I'll watch their process and I'll ask them questions about their process as they're creating art. And sometimes what I found is sometimes they don't even know why they do the things that they do. They just do it and they know that it works, right? But they're not seeing it from an outside perspective, from someone trying to analyze and break down how are they creating, right? And I can do it with almost any artist out there. I can help break down what they're doing and then why does that work for that artist, right? It's something that I've been able to do with any number of different people in any number of different mediums. Watching, talking to Rich Wren the other day, and watching the way that he sketches and how efficient he is when he's sketching and drawing and all of that. But then looking at his process and seeing that he starts out drawing what he wants to be his primary focal point. And then he builds everything else in the composition around it. So it's almost like
cool.
he's focusing on that to make sure that that's perfect. And then he's going back through and then he's saying, okay, well, everything else is secondary because I want everyone to look at this spot. Right? So he's not even going to bother sketching anything else. He's going to say, I want people to look at this. This is what I'm going to draw. And then it's like, oh yeah, and I have to add in this, this, and this. You know, but that only comes as an afterthought. So it's just enlightening when I can observe different artists that work in different ways. It's truly fascinating to me, and it's something I always love to learn about.
And then it's like it becomes, because there really isn't one way that is the right way and that's it. You know, like I almost in anything, right? And like and to learn a new way, a new process, you know, could never hurt because you could always, you know, complement whatever it is, whatever process you already have with some kind of new little adjustment that just makes it better, you know, and that's what I was saying right about the collaborations, you know, like you get that opportunity to see how somebody else goes about their own process, and you know, by the end of that session, you know, you kind of have added some of that into your own process, you know, and without necessarily changing completely the way that you go about doing it, you just, you know, added a little something, you know, it can never hurt, you know, to learn a different approach.
What would you say, Jason, is one of the best ways for people to start kind of developing some different sense of their own art? Like, let's
Start
say that
developing their own like styles, or starting to develop their own process.
their own process, I guess, is what well, yeah, I guess their own process. Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't even really think that through until you brought that part of the question up. Yeah, I'd say the process for sure.
Okay, so for people to really start going through and creating their own process and figuring out what really works for them, the best way that I've ever seen anyone really, really define that is by going through and observing other artists' processes and saying, oh, that's a different way than I currently do it. Let me give that a shot, right? Let me go through and try that out and see if that's for me. So some of it is experimentation. Some of it's more along the lines of, you know, just going through and doing what they're comfortable with as a backup only, right? You know, think about it like this, right? In tennis, and I don't know if anyone on here knows anything about tennis or whatnot, but the reason why you'll see a lot of tennis stars serve the ball to their opponent twice is because they have two different serves, appropriately titled a first serve and a second serve. The first serve is where they're trying to make an ace. They're trying to get it right in the corner of the box on their opponent's side so that the opponent doesn't have time to react to get to it. Now, a lot of times you'll see them and they miss and they're off by a little bit, you know, and, you know, it goes out of bounds. Well, that's when they default back to their second serve. Their second serve is where they know and they've practiced that second serve 12,000 times. They know that it works and they know that it's going to stay in fair play. Right? And that's what they're going to default back to. But without trying that first serve, without trying that new technique, you know, regardless of the outcome,
Right.
they won't ever know if it's going to be effective or not.
That's a good point.
Exactly.
So you have to step outside of yourself then. Is basically.
Oh yeah. I mean,
that's
the only way that we can really truly learn is by stepping outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah. Do you think that's just something you wake up and do one day, or you think sometimes it's just a matter of time that kind of collects and it just kind of happens on its own? Or do you think it's like a cosmic kind of thing? It's like one day, you just kind of figure out that you're gonna put yourself out there. What do you think?
I think it all starts in little steps. A lot of people in human nature, right? When we look at human nature in and of itself, human nature itself does not really make it comfortable for us to get away from the things that we know.
Yes.
Okay. Because we get set into a routine and we can predict the outcomes.
Yeah.
And when we can predict those outcomes, that's when we turn around and we can say, okay, well, I know if I do this, this is going to happen. And, you can go through, once you know what's going to happen when you do a certain thing, you can go through and say, okay, well, I know if I do this, X, Y, or Z happens. And I know that if X, Y, or Z happens, then, this, and this. So it creates a predictable set of outcomes. When we start to really venture outside our comfort zone, it's really scary for a lot of people because they sit back and they say, well, I don't know what's going to happen. And if I don't know what's going to happen, I can't predict and control the future. And if I can't predict and control the future, I'm going to have to do a lot of things on the fly that maybe I don't want to do. And then that's just going to be a mess. So let me stick to what I know so that way I know things are going to go the way that I want them to go, which is fine. If you've done a lot of experimentation, if you've done a lot of exploring in who you are and what you know and how you do things, then that's fine. Stick to what you know. But until you've explored, until you've gained that insight to say, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I don't like, using a loose 18-round shader to pull bold lines. Maybe I don't like using a super tight bug pin 3 instead of a single. Maybe if you've never tried it, how do you know? Right? So, in those scenarios, I say, go through, set up both configurations, pull a small line and see if you like it. See if it feels okay for you. If it doesn't feel okay for you, by all means, grab the one that you're comfortable with, right? So that you can get that kind of a predictable outcome. But don't just shut it down right off the bat. Don't say, oh, well, that's new. I'm not going to try that out because, that's new and I don't know if I'm going to like it. You can't be afraid of trying new things.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know. That's food for thought, in my opinion. I'm
Always-
going to get off my soapbox now. And
There's always hesitation before that first step, That first step is so hard to make, but usually when you get over your fear of hesitation, you take that step, like you're always like, God damn, I'm glad I did it, I'm glad I put myself outside of my comfort zone and that, and that I took all this experience in, and yeah, man,
I keep circling back, and it's a quote that I heard Denzel Washington give at a college commencement speech at the University of Pennsylvania. And it's something that's kind of stuck with me, and I've applied it to every aspect of my life. And it's, in order to achieve something that you've never had, you have to do the things that you've never done.
Absolutely.
True.
So if you want to achieve a certain level, you have to step outside that comfort zone. You have to try new things. You have to learn new things, right? That's part of the reason why I originally joined the Reinventing the Tattoo community. It's why I got the subscription to Reinventing the Tattoo in the first place. I felt stagnant. I knew my work wasn't progressing at all. I knew that if I kept doing the same things, I would keep getting the same outcome. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted to progress. I wanted to get better. I wanted to advance myself. I wanted to learn more and be not just a better artist, but a better person.
Yes.
You know, so I said, okay, if this is what I want to accomplish and this is what I want to achieve, this is what I have to do. I have to try new things. I have to join new things. I have to talk to new people. I have to gain new knowledge in order to really take that next step. You know, and in my personal opinion and experience, it's only been a benefit, right? You can't be disadvantaged by gaining new knowledge. You know, it's almost impossible to be disadvantaged by gaining new knowledge.
And once you realize that you never knew it at all, and you're like, where would I be without this new knowledge?
Right? Because even if it's knowledge that you gain on learning what you don't like, at least you know that you don't like that now.
Yes.
You know, whereas before you didn't know if you liked it or not. So yeah, give it a shot. Try it out. Try a new needle company. Try a new pigment company. Right? I was so hesitant. So I used to use strictly Eternal for everything, right? And I was so hesitant to try any kind of new pigment company for the longest time, right? Because I knew Eternal. I knew how it behaved. I knew what it would look like when it healed. I knew that. And I was okay with that because it was a very well-known brand, very good reputation. And I remember talking to an artist one day who had at least, I want to say 6 or 7 different brands of pigment out at their station during a tattoo convention. Right? 6 or 7 different brands of pigment. And I was like, well, why wouldn't you just want to stick to one? Right? Because that was a foreign concept. You know, why wouldn't, like, if you like one company, why not just stick with them? And, you know, they had a very profound answer and they said, well, because I don't like this color from that company. You know, I like this color from this company and I like this color from this company. I like the way that they behave and I like the way that they heal. And I find that that gives me a better quality product. And that blew my mind, right? Like you're not pigeonholed into one set thing. You can try new things. You can branch out. You can use 12 different pigment companies if you want to. You can use 8 different needle companies if you want to, right? You can use 3 different gray wash sets and merge them all together if you want to. You know, you can try these new things and it's okay. It's okay to not be standardized across the board or to use what the status quo uses. Because at the end of the day, unless you try, you know, a red from Fusion or Industry or Raw, you know, you're not going to know how it performs. You're not going to know if you like it. And if you don't know if you like it, who's to say that you won't like it?
Exactly. You know what this subject reminds me of? Like there's a saying of Buddha that is something along the lines of, you know, learn from everyone, but, you know, only take in, but like, you know, take it in a way that you just don't believe it blindly, but like reach your own conclusions on the information that you receive, right? And act, you know, and live from there, you know, which is an authentic place. And it's kind of like the same thing that you want to do in art, right? Like you want everything to come out from that authentic place that you develop through these experiences where you take in, you know, from all the different information that you run into. You don't necessarily get attached to something and become stubborn, like this is the way and that's it, you know, but you actually stay open and continue to grow because I think that that's, you know, one of the strengths of us humans, right? When we work together, you know, when we learn from each other, we really excel. And, you know, and just like it is in life, I think it's the same thing in art, you know?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. You know, it's through that shared knowledge and questioning things and saying, well, and that's where I think, you know, that quote from Buddha is absolutely accurate. Question things, you know, try it out, question it. Don't just accept things on face value. Find your own truth.
Yeah, usually whatever comes out of there is great, you know, like because it's so authentic, it's so original that it can only come from you. That's all something that you always want to look for, I think, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, if you're not out there trying to discover what your own truth is, then what are you doing?
yeah,
Just going along with the flow?
Lollygagging.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, lollygagging. I love that expression.
Good one.
Lollygagging.
Haven't heard that in a while.
What is that? Like resting on your laurels, like leaning
Right.
around, like
Pretty
okay.
much, yeah.
Mm,
Wasting
okay,
time, you know, spinning your wheels.
Yeah, you can't decide. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Overall pensive, right?
That doesn't
I
get
mean,
much
if you
done.
want to be intellectual about it, yeah. To use the 10-cent word of the day,
Are you working on anything in particular today, Jason?
yeah, I'm working on some homework. I was doing a little bit of a field test on Russ Abbott just released a new brush set through Tattoo Smart. And I was playing around with that a little bit, just trying that out on this little design that I have yet to finish. It's a brush set called the Needle Set. And it's got some pretty interesting stuff in it, right? I mean, it's all based around tattoo configurations, liners, mags, you know, different types of round shaders and stuff of that nature. And it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty cool. You know, it kind of feels like you're actually tattooing.
Nice.
Do you keep the size of the brush the same the whole time, so it stays like a 7 mag, or well?
Yeah, it's
wouldn't
so it
change the
is
amount of
locked.
needles, I guess.
The
Yeah. Oh, it
size
is.
is
Okay.
locked.
I
So
was
I mean,
curious
even
about
if I
that.
were to like make it bigger or smaller,
Yeah.
it's not going to actually change the size of the brush.
Gotcha. So if you make it bigger, it turns it into like a 13 mag or something, but not this. It's locked on the size of what each needles or each brush stays the same size or something. Maybe.
Right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for
Okay.
example, right, like with any of the brushes, the size slider on the side,
Yeah.
you can adjust that anywhere you want on that size adjustment,
Right.
but it's not going to change the actual size of the brush. It's going to be
Okay.
exactly the same every time, regardless of where that is. So that
That's cool.
size is that size because they've done the studies and, you know, all the imaging and whatnot, calibrated it all out to 300 DPI, you know, so
Mhm.
that way everything can work exactly
That's
the
cool.
way that it should. So if
Right.
I'm shading in this snake at this size on my canvas, I know
Mhm.
that if I'm using a 13 mag, I know that that's going to work well to really cover some area.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's cool. It'd be a cool way to like just go through the tattoo you're going to do and kind of, I don't know, you could tell how long it's going to take maybe, or gauge it a little bit. That'd be pretty cool. And or just you get a practice run through it or something, try something like that. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
that sounds cool.
Absolutely.
I'd like to
That's what I
try it.
really like about using these sets. It's also a way to go through. So say I wanted to go through and, you know, play around with this chrysanthemum outline that I have. Let's hide all of this stuff that I was just working on. let's play around with this a little bit and say I wanted to go through and figure out what I could do to make the line weight a little bit more dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm in this needle set, I can go through and say, okay, let's choose a 15 round liner and we'll see what kind of line weight that gives me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see if I like that line weight.
That's a good idea. That's awesome.
And then that
Mhm.
way, once I'm done the drawing, I know exactly what liner I need to pull out in order to create that specific line weight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah.
it takes a lot of the guesswork out of, I don't know, is that a loose 11 or is that more like, no, maybe that's a tight 14.
That's pretty cool.
You know?
Sometimes that's easy for me to misjudge like which one, when I'm doing, especially with a smaller tattoo. I'm like, oh wait, this 5 round is a little tighter than I'm used to, and or something like that. And maybe an 8 liner would be a crisper one here to use, or maybe suit the tattoo a little better with 1 pass line, or I don't know, stuff like that. That's cool.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's something that, we really gain with a lot of experience is we learn what the appropriate line weight is going to be for, say, a 7 round liner or a 5 round liner or a 9 round liner. We know exactly how thick that should be every single time. And because we know that through experience, that helps us accurately gauge it. But if anyone out there is like me, it's like, okay, well, if I think this is going to be a 7, I'm going to pull out a 9, right? That's probably more accurate to the size that I'm really going to want. Or maybe I'm thinking, maybe it should be a 5. Well, I always try to go up a size because I always tend to underestimate how thick those lines are. So that's kind of what I've worked out for me.
Oh, okay. I'll have to try that out.
Just because I always used to be in the habit of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I'll use a 5 for this, like medium-sized line. When in all honesty, I really should have used like a 7 or a 9. Okay. So I started to pick up on that after a while, and many hundreds of dollars worth of cartridges that I've wasted, just from inaccurate estimations. And started to sit back and say, oh, okay, well, you know what? I think I've got an idea of what I'm doing now, because I'm just going to start I'm going to stop underestimating how big of a line this is going to put in. So I'm just going to go through and, you know what? I'm going to start estimating everything up a size. Screw it. Why not? And it was way more accurate at the end of the day. So I was like, oh, well, I should probably be doing that more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's better.
Hello.
That'll be
Hey,
cool.
Kira.
Hello.
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 Kier. What up? What's up, Kier?
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm
Hey.
late.
Hi, Kira.
Hello. I'm
Hello.
gonna keep saying hello.
Mhm.
Oh, too. Chiki came to say hi.
Hello, Cheekster.
Oh, Cheeky. Cheeky is an ancient cat deity.
Wow.
Mummified, and I demummified her and then brought her back to life.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure she's immortal.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I think so too. I don't know how she did it. But yeah, man, she's over 100 years old.
Which is pretty awesome, man. I don't think my cat's going to make it to maybe 10, but she's getting fat.
She looks happy.
Oh, she's happy, but she's a big girl.
You feed her well. What are you
Oh,
up to?
she gets fed very well.
Yeah, she's a happy cat.
So I have to say, I'm really digging this brush set.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's got all different types of variations too, like 11 round shaders, traditional 9 round liners, which is something, you know, I mean, so I just did these other lines with their 11 round liner brush. And now I'm laying down a traditional 9 round liner next to it.
Okay.
And they're about the same line weight.
What was the first one again?
An
Besides the
11.
9 round? Oh, 11 and a 9 round. Okay.
And then more of a traditional 9. So it's a little
Gotcha.
bit looser, but if you look at the line weight variation, there's next to
Mhm.
nothing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, I mean, I could go with either and, you know, whatever I have available there. That's pretty cool.
Do they
You know, it's got
behave
some
like,
nice stipple brushes.
can you tell a difference between like a tight and loose, like a round shader? Like if you use it, maybe do a light, okay, you don't press as hard, right? You know, kind of like skate across the, you know, skate the tip of your pen across there. Can you see like a little gap in the middle of that round shader? And I don't know, is it like, how accurately does it do that?
So it's pretty accurate. It's more based on pressure sensitivity. So if I just
Ah.
lightly drag it across,
Okay. Yeah.
you can kind of see that, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, I
it's
see.
not very dark.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is with the 9 round shader. So if I
Okay.
do the same thing for the 9 round traditional liner, and I just
I can
kind of
see
like
that.
skip it across,
Yeah.
it is still pretty light.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you look really closely, you can kind of see like a little bit of a streakiness to it.
I see. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, so maybe something more for building lines as opposed
Oh, yeah.
to you know, doing nice clean single pass. Not that you can't do nice clean single pass with a traditional liner, but if
Right.
we look at, you know, and Ricardo and I have talked about this plenty of times, if you start to really look at the difference between the way that a lot of liners are made today versus the way that they were originally made when they were made by hand,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the ones that are manufactured today are quite a bit tighter in nature than they were
Yeah.
when they were made by hand. So that's
Right.
going to affect the line width.
Yeah. Gotcha. I never liked mine too tight, but uh, I don't know. I guess just it seemed like there wasn't enough room for ink in between all the needles there, and it'd be easy to, you know, you wouldn't get as much ink in there maybe, and maybe you wouldn't. Yeah, it's easier to blow the line out or, you know, cause damage a little bit if you use the real tight ones. But then people use them and they do great with it. So I guess that's a personal preference, I guess.
Yeah,
When
I
I
think a
made
lot of it
mine, I
is
didn't
personal.
tighten them that much, you know.
Yeah, I used to use pretty much straight but stiff groupings. So
I
I would
like
bring
that.
that solder down pretty far,
Yeah,
you know, to keep those nice and in position,
I like
but they
that. Yeah.
weren't that tight, right? I mean,
Right.
I might have tightened them up a tiny bit in a jig, you know, basically just to hold them
Mm-hmm.
still,
Hold them
but
together.
they weren't very tight at all,
I see. Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I like them like
So,
that.
you know, it reminds me a lot of like a black claw. So if anyone doesn't know about black claw needles, you need to go and check them out.
Those were
Um,
nice. I got them once. I really like that.
oh, dude, they're amazing, and they have
I
cartridges
gotta
now.
get them
And
again. Yeah, my lines were noticeably a little better, I think, when I had that. They were like round. Noticeable to me. I don't know if anyone else maybe noticed, but I think there was a difference. Like they were really cool.
oh, they're absolutely amazing. And I'm still trying to like dive into the science behind why. But like from what I've noticed, I think a lot of it has to do with you know, just like the way that they're manufactured and the way
Hmm.
that they're made and like how tight those groupings are.
Yeah, they're like very precise groupings. Like I like the way they look. They were made like really, really nicely. Some of them, I don't know, if you look at okay, if you buy cheaper needles, you know, from a company, like they don't take as much care making sure that the grouping is super neat. You know, sometimes on a round, they'll kind of be scattered about a little bit. And black claws were not scattered around ever at all. Like they were just perfectly every time. Those hollow rounds made cool lines. Like, but yeah, they were good. They're good. You gotta get them again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with their capillary action and how, you know, like their straight liners are what I always used to use.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they like the capillary action that you get in between those pins is next level. That and they're
What is
almost
that?
blowout proof because they do
Yeah.
spread slightly when they hit the skin, right? So
Okay.
even if you add a little bit more force, it's just going to make them expand more, but it's not necessarily going to drive them too deep.
Okay.
It's yeah, I really kind of like that fact about them. If you go with their straight liners,
Mm-hmm.
their tight liners are a little bit of a different story. Their helitites are a way different beast.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't use that myself, but I'd love to like learn how, but I never did it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll break out like a helitite 3 or a helitite 4 if like I've got super, super tiny little lines to do.
Yeah.
Where most people might use like a single or anything like that. I'll just break out a helitite 3.
Okay.
You know, I find I get better capillary action and have a little bit more control over it. As
What
opposed
is
to
capillary
anything
action? I
else.
don't know that term,
So
I don't think.
capillary action is where the actual pigment that's flowing down the pins
Yeah.
will go in between those pins
Yeah.
and it'll actually hold a little bit more.
Oh yeah,
Right?
okay. I see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you get a little bit better ink flow down to the tips of the pins as opposed to having it flow along the outer edges of the pins, which is what you
Yeah.
get when you have like an overly tight grouping.
Yeah, right, right. I get it now. Yeah. Yeah, I like when it's all up in the middle. You get a lot
Right?
of ink in there. It's easy to get the ink in there. Yeah, that's nicer for me.
When you mentioned the hollow groupings that you really like,
Yeah, they were
and
great.
I
They
think
were
part of the
cool.
reason why is because you get so much ink in the middle of that.
I love that. Yeah. Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, it's like you don't even have to try to put a line in anymore, right? It becomes
Yeah, it makes it
effortless.
easy. It makes it so much easier. Yeah. Yep. You get that little puddle coming out of there, and that's the shit.
Yep, it's like, ooh, there's my bead. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
chase that bead around a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun to use that. Yep. Do you ever use a single needle? I never did.
I have a few times.
Okay.
I have a box at my station back at the studio
Yeah.
that I keep on hand just in case. Not just in case for me, mind you, but just in
Mm-hmm.
case another artist comes over and says, "Hey, can I get one of those singles off of you?"
Oh, cool.
So, you know, it's just something I have on hand just in case. I don't really have a need for them because I never really use
Right.
them. I've used them before and they were interesting. You have to be very careful with them
Yeah.
because
I
you
would.
can go way too deep, way too quick.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I remember tight threes back in the day. I guess that was the trend, or what everyone seemed to like was it. You know, you start with a tight three or something, but that was really skinny, man. Like those are. I can't imagine the single. I'd have to be doing an experimental type of a thing. You know, just try it out
Right.
to use one probably.
I have found that of the few times that I have used them, what I've used them for was, believe it or not, doing very, 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 very delicate small areas of shading.
Ah,
And I'll just use those to like stipple shade in like the bridge of a nose to get like tiny little wrinkles in there. Or I'll do it
cool.
for like the pupil of an eye, you know, just to get a very, very small little gradient. And I'll drop my speed on my
Uh,
machine way down.
right,
Um,
right. Okay.
And that it tends to work really, really well because the smaller the dot and the slower the machine and the smaller of an area you're trying to stipple shade in, the smoother of a gradient you're going to get.
Okay. Okay.
So, I mean, but that's really like the only time I've ever really
Mm.
used them. And
Little
it's,
shadows.
yep,
Cool.
very few and far between.
Gotcha. I haven't looked up at the drawing for a while, guys. Bruno's iPad. Yeah. Oh, cool.
It's
man.
Bruno
Oh,
and
that's
Ricardo
okay.
that are drawing. It's
Yeah.
probably
It's
glorious.
It's coming along. That looks great. Well, there's progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could one of you guys grab the iPad and give us a closer view?
Yeah.
I got you.
You got it?
Yep. You keep working. No, there's no
It's just a happy, what is Bob Boston?
happy accident.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's sweet.
What do we have going on in the background over on the right side behind the head?
Which, let's see the right side.
Oh, like over here?
Yeah, I see like a square area.
Yeah. My intention with this here was to create some kind of a like landscape type situation in the back, you know, like a field or some sort out of focus.
Oh, okay.
Something like that. And then, but she's got all kinds of like organic stuff going on, right?
Interesting.
Exoskeleton type situation, I think. And yeah, just trying to keep that side a little bit more fuzzy and kind of keep this area out here, isolate all the detail right here. And since we got a lot of texture going on here and here, we want to kind of do something here with very little texture and a big shape, you know, to have those different sizes. And that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, we
Very interesting.
also wanted to play with the light source too. But I
Are you
think
guys thinking single point light source, dual point?
single point, I think it's kind of the way it's headed so far.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. It just kind of happened on its own type thing.
Yeah. We were both pretty excited to be on the class with you today together,
Yeah, man.
especially since this is the first time we met in person today.
Yeah, we met again. Now
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We've been hanging out since I think February. We started we all clicked really well, and like this forum brought us all together and stuff. And so today is the first day that we actually met in person. We're not tiny little squares on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent.
When I'm talking to him, I'm like looking somewhere else because I'm used to talking to him over the phone.
Yeah, and right.
But yeah, man, it's been fun.
Yeah, it has been one of the many blessings of being part of the Reinventing community is, you know, get to meeting other artists, making other friendships, and, you know, having guys that we can always kind of talk to and get honest critiques about things, you know, because we all know that it's coming from a very positive, you know, very friendly standpoint. No matter how harsh the critique, you know, we know that it's only coming from a sense of, you know, friendliness and kindness and, you know, a desire to see someone learn or do better, you know. And it's something where, you know, even in some of the Facebook groups that I've joined, it's like all you see is people trash talking other people, right? And it's very negative, and you get a lot of people out there that, you know, maybe they don't really, you know, have the best of intentions. They're just kind of there for entertainment purposes. And then you get another group of people that's there to really try to learn and really try to better themselves in what they're doing. And they just get beat down so often that, it almost becomes impractical to be a part of some of those groups, right?
They're
Because
hard.
no one's there to really help each other. They're just there to have fun and criticize and, be negative.
Troll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to this group is like really helpful, and have common intentions of learning and sharing things and stuff. It's nice to not have trolls around and just, not be too nervous to come onto the Zooms or get critiqued by, because it can be hard to be critiqued. It's something that it's a little bit, nobody likes rejection. And when you show somebody your work and it's like, well, there's going to be some flaws. That's the point of critiquing it, so you can get better. But it's hard, sometimes to put your work out there. But it's good with this group. I like
Well,
this. It's
absolutely.
cool.
I mean, any kind of commentary on something that you're really proud of is always going to be very difficult to take, right? Because,
Yeah,
it's
it's
something that you
hard.
really poured a lot of time into.
Mm-hmm.
But it's understanding where people are coming from and that they only have the best of intentions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what can ultimately make that difference there. If
Mm-hmm.
you just get someone that isn't capable of doing, something that you can do, and they're just sitting down the whole time, just ripping your stuff to shreds. And it's like, well, okay, let's take a look at your work. What ground do you
Yeah,
have to
right.
stand on?
Yeah, right. That's a different type of uh, thing, I guess. And if it's just like they're trying to do it for personal reasons instead of good reasons, I guess, huh?
Right. Right. And it's like, okay, well, how can I do this better? And, getting that kind of feedback from places like the Reinventing community is, ultimately why we're here. And I've talked to Ricardo and Bruno and Kirsten several times about, okay, what are you guys doing? How are you doing it? Maybe that's going to help me step my game up a little bit more. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Yeah.
go back and forth and we'll have Zooms and we'll talk to each other about, hey, give this a shot next time. I think it's really going to help your line work out. Or, hey, maybe you should try moving your hand like this as opposed to like that for
Mm-hmm.
getting these kinds of color blends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll sit down and we'll really try to help each other out so that we can all improve, as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coolest parts about that too is that that's how I think a lot of us communicate on the shows that we're part of too. Is the same way that we talk to each other, we try to talk to everybody else that is encountering us, even right now, whether they're streaming on YouTube or Facebook or through the Reinventing app. So we try to be as genuine as we can. But I think that's the coolest part about all of it, right, Jason? Is like it's coming from a genuine place. It's not a troll kind of thing. You're not trying to make fun of somebody. Most of those people, when they do that, man, you're just stunting yourself when you do it anyway. So it's better just try to be positive about it. Like try to be constructive about it. And I feel you too, man. I was the same time, really, really timid about putting my work out there. But eventually you just gotta jump in and face the fear.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. When you learn from the critique, it makes you better.
Absolutely.
If I knew what was wrong with my drawing in the first place, I would have done it differently. But when Guy says something in a critique, that sticks in my head, and then the next time I'm going to use those ideas. So it makes you a lot better, I think. Like it's cool.
Well, and it's through, and once again, we've had this discussion several times in many different drawing groups that we've done. It's only through being critiqued that you can really advance, right? You need someone to sit down and say, well, I think you could have done better in this spot, or, maybe this line shouldn't have been that thick and it should have been a little bit thinner to maintain consistency. Maybe your light source is inaccurate, things of that nature. But it's only by going through critiques and then actively working on applying that information. That's where you see the advancement. People can get critiqued all the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to absorb the information and apply it. So you have to be willing to listen at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to put it into practice, man, like you were saying, I think that's it's really important because you can only listen and tune into things for so long, but it's not really gonna have as much of an impact until you put it into practice. And for example, that's one of the things that I learned about the Monday night exercise is that, you know, at first it was like, oh man, like so much work, and I had other things to do. But after finding, you know, some time to do them and doing them and putting myself through that pressure of doing the exercise based on the critiques that I received on the previous class, like you really start to see the results, you know. You realize, man, yeah, like this, you know, like actually doing the exercise and finishing it, like, it really, really pays off, you know, like and way more than just kind of not way more than not putting it into practice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I used to kind of skip the exercises a lot, you know, just kind of tune in while I did my own thing. But it wasn't really until I did the exercises and I really started to see the difference, you know.
Yeah, I didn't do them for a while. I guess it was just, I don't know, whatever, personal things. I was doing other stuff, whatever. But then I noticed, I kept following you guys' work and things like that. And I noticed things and I was like, wow, these guys are progressing. Like they're learning a lot from these weekly exercises. And I gotta get on that too. That's really cool. You can see the growth. It's neat. Like,
Dude, I can't even tell you how beneficial it's been to me, man, for my work, for the way that I look at my work, even, you know, the way that I approach it. It's all changed, and it's been like a night and day kind of thing. It's pretty incredible.
that's rad, dude. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. It feels different when you do more. I guess you have more practice in and you know these like tricks and tips and things like that. And you like, even with a consult, like you can show the person like, well, maybe we can do this, or maybe, this shape will drop behind the other one, or, you remember all these little skills. And yeah, it feels better when you draw, it makes it more fun for me. Like if you keep up with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I met a lot of cool people that way too, like all these guys, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's awesome to have a community like this, man. Like where you have access to like-minded people that you can get critiqued by, exchange ideas. Like, yeah, man, the sky's the limit. When you have something like this.
Mm-hmm.
On the Reinventing the Tattoo, man. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that's the craziest part. Like, I know for me, I was always tempted to walk up to people like Guy. You know what I mean? Like nervous about.
Yeah, me too.
But he's actually a really approachable guy, man. He's really approachable dude. He's super into, giving his opinion when it's wanted. You know what I mean? And like in a constructive way. It's great.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, he's really a personable, level-headed, down-to-earth type of guy for someone that is so talented and influential and so forth.
Good time, man.
Good teacher, cool teaching style. He's got a good sense of humor too. That makes it fun.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one thing I picked up on many years ago is that if you can make someone laugh and you can make it humorous while you're teaching, you're going to remember it far more often than if you were to just sit there and, just be kind of dull about it the whole time.
Yeah, man.
By adding in
You're
that
right.
comical element, it actually allows us to remember what we're being taught way more effectively.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we should do some here too.
Yeah. Well, I've got about 5 or 10 more minutes I can be on, guys. Hate to cut it kind of short, but I actually have quite a bit of things I got to get done today.
Like, get on
That's
a plane.
cool.
So
I feel like
Yeah,
he's gonna
man.
surprise us. He's gonna surprise us.
Yeah.
I
what was that?
think you're gonna surprise us and you're just gonna show
I mean,
up.
we'll see. We'll see.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you get the call from me later on saying, "Hey, I'm at the airport, come and grab me."
Yeah, man, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I can't guarantee how long I'd be able to stay. I might have to catch a flight back the same time tomorrow, but
Fuck it, man.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
See, man, surprise us. You know, brother. Yeah, man, it was fun, dude. Fun to join Ricardo and make a little something happen. Thanks for
Yeah.
holding. Here.
Kia, You'll be-
Care.
aren't you, girl? You're gonna be later tonight.
Atomic.
Make sure and come in on Tuesday morning too, guys. That we're gonna have I got some special plan for all of us. Meet here in Brno.
What time? 10.
Then Tuesday morning, and then I know we'll probably jump in tomorrow morning on JP time too.
Okay.
Awesome.
Today on Tuesday, we'll Eastern time. Gonna have some fun stuff going on.
Cool.
They don't even know about it yet.
What's up, Atomic? We cannot hear you.
Got any tattoos today, Jason?
No, not today.
Yeah, today you take it easy, right?
Yeah, well, today is more about crunching numbers and getting stuff done around the house than it is anything else.
It's gotta be done.
Yeah, tell me about it.
We just gotta make the donuts.
Hey, Atomic, what's up, man? I don't know if we can hear you or not.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, me either. We're gonna do this because we're only gonna be on for another couple minutes anyway.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna go figure out
gallery.
what's going on today. See what my girl's up to, and yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm gonna get going soon too.
Cool. Why don't
Yeah.
we go through and start doing some sign-offs?
Okay.
Rod, go ahead. By all means, I'll spotlight you and
Oh,
just tell
okay.
us where people can get a hold of you and your name and Instagram and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my IG is Thelonious Prime. I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. You can look up my name, Rod Graybill. There's a Facebook thing. I got a Thelonious Prime Inc., which just has tattoos and tattoo drawings, and I have Thelonious Prime, and that is drawings, paintings, and maybe a couple personal things or something like, pictures. But yeah, that's it, man. Thank you. Thanks for having this thing.
Well,
Hey, no problem. No problem at all. Bruno, Ricardo.
Yep. Ricardo, go ahead, bro.
what's up, guys? My name is Ricardo Sturdivant. I work at Candor Tattoo. You can find me on Instagram at Candor Tattoo. You can catch me on Reinventing the Tattoo Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I host a class there. It's always fun to have everybody jump in and talk the process out with each other and their approaches and stuff like that. It's always good to kind of show what I've got going on, and then see how everybody feels about it and see if we can relate as far as the application. That's always fun. And as always, Jason, it's always a good time being here with you, man. It's a pleasure. Bruno and I were actually talking about the first Sunday we joined in, how like it was kind of serendipitous. Like I remember when I was on there with you guys, I thought that you guys had known each other for a really long time, but we were just all vibing really well, man. So it's a good time. But thank you again, Jason. I appreciate you.
Hey man, the pleasure is all mine. It really, really is. Cool.
Yep.
So I guess I'll spotlight myself for everyone.
No.
So thank you everyone for tuning in today for the Sunday afternoon drawing group. Oh, Atomic's connecting to audio finally.
just in time.
I know, right? Oh, that's coming along. Nice, man. Let me remove my spotlight. I'll spotlight you for a quick second. Show us what you're working on. I think we can hear you now, maybe. We're looking at your video right now.
There should be a little camera with the arrow on it.
Yeah. Oh, that's coming along cool. Oh, just lost the video. Oh, there we go. We're back. Yay. That's coming along pretty nice, man.
Cool.
I love that like coming at you kind of perspective. Very foreshortened, very nice. Still can't really hear you, but you know what? Send me a message on the community and we'll see if we can't get together and do a Zoom, figure out all your audio issues for next time. But I really like the way that's coming along. Cool. So I'll go through and do the final kind of quick sign off.
Get Bruno in there.
And Bruno.
Hey guys, yeah, my name is Bruno Salvatierra. And Jason, thank you so much for hosting this fun drawing group. It's always a great opportunity to, exchange, our thoughts and our perspectives and learn from each other. And thank you to, Reinventing the Tattoo, everybody involved, Gabe, Guy, of course, for creating this platform, and if there's anybody out there that would be interested in checking out Paint Jam with some cool artists in Spanish, if you're a little bit limited with English, but would like to see something tattoo and art related in Spanish, you can catch Hablemos de Arte with me, Bruno Salvatierra, once a month. The next show is going to be on August 17th, Tuesday at 9 p.m. Darwin Enriquez is going to be with us, and Chimpa Moreno, and Stefano, and Andres. There's going to be some really talented artists with us. So if you want to tune in, stay tuned to the RIT app for more information. And you can also reach me on Instagram at priestless_art at any time. Thank you, Jason, so much. Having fun, man.
You're very welcome, Bruno. Thank you. And that's coming along absolutely awesome, man. I can't wait to see the final product.
Cool. That looks nice.
Thanks, man. Yeah, good fun.
Cool. Well, I'm going to go through and close things out. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for the Reinventing the Tattoo community and Guy Aitchison and Gabe. Wouldn't be going on without you, bud. Thank you. Thank you for Bruno and Ricardo, Rod, Atomic. thank you guys all for joining in today. We're always looking for more people to jump in and create lively discussion and show us what you're working on. As always, if anyone ever has any suggestions, questions, or comments, let us know. Send us a message, and we'll try to include your topic in the next show. I'll probably be jumping on again tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. for the live drawing group with Jake Meeks. And don't forget to tune in tonight at 9 p.m. for the Tattoo Weekly show with Lauren Gregory, Gabe, and I think Guy is there as well. Should be a pretty fun time. So thank you, everyone. And now is the point in time where we all make goofy faces and say goodbye and cheers. Smile, everyone. Yay.